In this video I will show you how to create a Windows form in Java, which is known as a frame or a JFrame, and add some controls to it like a label, buttons, and a text box or a text field. Now the first thing that we will start with is a normal class. We can call this one as a, let's say, frame demo 1, or let's say frame 1 demo, and we have our class here. Okay, now we are going to add, this is our main program or the main entry point which has the main method, but we need to create a separate class so that where the window, the form, or the frame and the controls will be added. So what I can do, this is my package, I can say new class. Now the class name I can call it as, or let me call it as frame 1. So this is our frame 1, public class frame 1. Now to make this frame as a real frame that can be displayed like a window, we need to extend this one from JFrame. Now to extend this from JFrame, I need to import so I am importing javax.swing.star, right? Now the next thing that we need to do is to add some variables which are of button, label, JTextField, whatever controls we want to put on the frame, we need to have their variables created, and we are going to make all of them as private. This is our J label, right? So we can call this one as label 1. Then we can create, let's say, a field. A field or a text box is called JTextField, right? And we call this one as text 1. Then we can have button. Now we just want to create one small program where we will have a button. In fact, we will have two buttons. One is button up and down, and we will just increment or decrement some numbers which would be displayed in the text field. So I can call this one as button up, and I will call this one as button down. We can have one more button, let's say, which can reset the counter also. We will have 5 controls on our form. Okay, now we will insert a constructor. Let's say at the moment we don't want any fields there, we just need the constructor. Now here we can pass, let's say, the name of this window, which would be passed when we are trying to create this, and we call it as T. So in constructor, the first line, if you're using or if you're calling the constructor of the super class. That should be the first line. Okay, now we need to add these buttons, or we need to create these objects. We have the variable name, but we have not created the object yet. So we can say and we can write the what we want this label to have. So let's say we call it as counter. Then we have the text1, and again it is J text field. Now here we can set the size or length of the field, so we just put it as 10. Then we have button up, and same here we can write the text that would be displayed on the button, so which is count up. And this one we can call it as count down, and this one should be similarly. We have the reset button also, so this is the text that would be displayed on the button. So we have something like this, right? These are the things that we have added. Now we can do some other things here also in the constructor. For example, when we click the close button of this frame, it should close. So we can do something, set default close operation, right? And here we have constant exit on close. Second thing, if you want to set the size, you can do that also. Let's say 400 by 400. You can also set the location. These are something that you don't need to write it if you don't want to set the location. If you just want to leave it like that, wherever the operating system displays it, that's okay. So you can ignore these ones. Okay, now we have these things already set, right? Now the second thing here, okay, it should be inside this one. Now we have created all these buttons and label and everything, but we have not yet added these to our frame, right? So you need to add them to the frame also. And how do you add them? First thing, remember that when you're working with frames, you have something called the layout, how you want to display the buttons, right? The basic one that we have is the flow layout. Now first thing we need to do is to set the layout, right? And the layout that we are going to set is the so this way you can set the layout of your frame, right? Now we are going to add the buttons. So now whatever we add on our frame, that will be set according to this layout that we have defined here. This can be grid layout, and some other layouts are also there. We can use anyone. So here I'm just going to use the method add, and I'm going to add the controls. Okay, now we have our buttons also added here. Now all these things are in our constructor, right? So we save this one, we come back here. Now you can see something here, that this package is frame1 demo, while this package is also frame1 demo. It means I can use this one here. Now let's say I call this one as window 1. Sorry. Okay, I have frame 1 and I call this one as window 1 is equal to new frame 1, and there is some string here, so I can just pass this string as window 1, right? And then window 1 dot, you need to make it visible, set visible as true. So now this is complete. We have a frame, we have a class frame which extends from the JFrame, that is the Java frame class. We declared some controls. There are many. You can go through the list of all these control names and you can add them to check how it works. Then we have our constructor. In the constructor we created the objects of all these controls, right? We set the size of our window and location, and then we set the layout, and then we added our controls, right? So you need to go through this sequence. So we come back here and let's see how it works. You can see here we have our control. Right now at the moment this all doesn't do anything, right? Okay, remember one thing, you can see we have counter, then we have text field, then counter, count up, count down, and reset. Now let me do one thing here. Let's say I put this one here and I put this one here, right? I save it. Now have a look at it. I have text field. Now let me open this one. You can see here the sequence that you have added, the controls, you see them exactly that way. The first one that I added is text. This is text. Then the label is there. Then count down is there. Count up is there, and the reset is there. So when you're trying to add these controls, you should know which one should come after which one, or which one should come before which one, right? So this is our window with all the controls added to it using the flow layout, right? So okay, let us try one more layout and see how it looks like. Okay, to add the new layout, what I can do, okay, let me just block this one and let's say layout. Here I say new, let's say grid layout, not grid bag, grid layout, right? Then we have here, now you can see it has three different what do you call it, constructors, where we can pass different values. The first one is rows and columns, how many rows and how many columns. Now let's see, we have here 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5. So it means we can go with 3 columns, or we can go with let's say 3 rows and 2 columns, right, which will make it 6. Okay, now here let us set this thing so that it displays properly. We have the label, we have this, then we have the button up, then we have button down, then we have the reset, right? This is our grid layout. Let's see how it looks like, then we can do the explanation. Okay, now you can see here I have 3 rows and 2 columns. So I have 1 2 3 rows and 2 columns. The first one is I have the counter, then the text field, then button up, button down, and the reset, right? So this way you can set any type of layout.